Good morning, welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Monday, April 28th, 2014. The U.S. tornado season has arrived in a very big and deadly way. At least 16 people have been killed, mainly in Arkansas yesterday, as a result of two distinct twisters that popped up suddenly on Sunday evening in Oklahoma and in Arkansas. The most dangerous one apparently touched down about 10 miles west of Little Rock, Arkansas, at about 7 p.m. last night, then carved an 80-mile path of destruction as it passed over suburbs north of the state capital. The twister shredded cars, trucks, and 18-wheel rigs along Interstate 40 north of Little Rock. According to the National Weather Service, the storm has the potential to be an EF3 or greater. EF3 storms have winds greater than 136 miles per hour. The analysis is being done today, and unfortunately, more deaths may be reported as homes are entered and checked. The United States is seeking to ratchet up the pressure on Russia by implementing new and additional sanctions as a result of its policy in the Ukraine. The sanctions are going to be specifically announced on Wednesday. President Obama announced them today in Manila in the Philippines, where he stopped on the last leg of his Asian tour. Mr. Obama said that the goal here is not to go after Mr. Putin personally, referring to the Russian President Vladimir Putin. The goal is to change his calculus with respect to how the current actions that he's engaging in could have an adverse impact on the Russian economy. The new sanctions apparently are going to focus on Russian individuals and companies close to President Putin. Meanwhile, in yesterday's New York Times, the front page article had a headline saying, "Tracking Vladimir Putin's Wealth," and went on to cite anonymous sources in the U.S. government who are apparently engaged in tracking what could be a very considerable fortune amassed by the Russian leader. We announced a couple of weeks ago that the Atrium aviation team resigned en masse after receiving their annual bonuses. Now we know where they're going. They have popped up at the Lancashire-owned Lloyd's carrier Cathedral, a rival. The departures come after several weeks that had been speculating that the Atrium team would end up at a number of other syndicates. This is regarded as a coup for Cathedral. The Atrium book apparently is worth about £40 million annually. If they can bring that into Cathedral, that would be a coup. The big broker Aon has reported results for the first quarter 2014. They posted net income of about $325 million, or $1.06 a share. This is compared to 82 cents a share for the same period last year. Total revenue increased about 1% to $2.9 billion, driven apparently by a 2% increase in organic revenue. As usual, the Aon numbers will be gone over with a fine-tooth comb by industry analysts, and we'll have more to say about this later in the week. The Zurich-based loss compilation agency Perils AG has raised its estimate of the insured loss from the European Windstorm Christian, which is also known as the St. Jude stage storm. Went through Europe and England at the end of October last year. They bumped it up now about to 1.1 billion euros, or about 1.5 billion US. Had been just a touch over €1 billion prior to that. South Korea ferry disaster continues to ripple through the entire economy and country. The South Korean Prime Minister resigned in embarrassment, apparently, on Saturday, indicating that he had accepted responsibility for not revising the shipping regulations. The ferry captain, in fact, and two senior crew members could be facing a life sentence for abandoning passengers. It seems as if the crew had stripped off their clothes and were wearing underwear and T-shirts with no shoes, trying to mingle in with the passengers as they were getting on board lifeboats. South Korean Coast Guard personnel said in the urgency to get people off the boat, they couldn't very well inquire as to whether the identity of the person getting off was a crew member or a passenger, so they ended up taking them all. The investigators are saying they're probing whether or not the ferry turned too quickly or abnormally, or whether it was carrying too much cargo. However, the Justice Minister pledged an overhaul of the South Korean shipping industry regulation and practices. Once again, the Palm Beach Post and other media outlets in Florida are focusing on the state-run insurer, Citizens Insurance, and its relationship with the Bermuda reinsurance industry. Citizens announced that they've spent $304 million in 2014 in buying private reinsurance, and the Palm Beach Post is questioning the number of trips and the amount of hotel room accommodations, the value, $600 or so a night, that were being spent in Bermuda in order to obtain the coverage. The media then goes on to say that there really is no need for this extra insurance because there hasn't been any hurricanes in the past 6 or 7 years, and the state is willing to provide assessments to all homeowners in the event of a big hurricane. And in fact, Citizens has a $7 billion surplus. What the media seems not to understand is that if there's another Hurricane Andrew, the affordability of cheap reinsurance that Citizens was able to obtain is going to go a long way to help. The Bank of America has been yanked back by the Federal Reserve. They had plans to increase their dividend and bolster a stock buyback plan. The Federal Reserve said, no, you can't do that because you had incorrectly reported capital ratios in recent stress tests. The second largest U.S. bank said that their error was caused by, quote, an incorrect adjustment. The Fed is requiring the Bank of America to resubmit data and new capital action plans. The bank said that they will do that, but quickly warned Wall Street that any sort of increase in the dividend or share buyback would in fact be lower than what they had previously announced. Their stock has gone down 5% already today. That's the news for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.